Single
Hey, it's gonna
dad
be
helped
okay.
a poor
Take a bite.
woman every
I can't,
morning
I'm not hungry.
until her
Please,
lawyers
just a little.
walked in with 4 bodyguards. Every morning at exactly 7:10, Mark Rivera pushed open the glass door of the corner cafe with his daughter. Ellie wrapped around his index finger like a promise he refused to break. The bell chimed, the same warm air met them, and the barista already knew the order. 1 black coffee, 1 small hot chocolate with extra foam and too much chocolate dust on top. Routine was the one luxury Mark could afford. As a single father working 2 jobs, predictability was his form of peace. Ellie always chose the window booth. She liked watching people hurry past like racing ants. Mark liked watching her watch the world. He never checked his phone when she talked, never rushed her stories. Even when he was tired enough to fall asleep sitting up, he listened like each word mattered, because to her it did. Outside the cafe window, almost always in the same spot, sat a woman in a worn coat and grey scarf. A plastic grocery bag held her belongings. Most people passed without seeing her, eyes sliding away with practiced indifference. A few dropped coins without slowing down, like paying a toll to avoid guilt. No one stopped long enough to speak. One particularly cold morning, Ellie pressed her palm to the glass. "Daddy," she asked softly, "why is that auntie always outside?" Mark followed her gaze. The woman's hands were red from the cold. She was trying to warm them with her breath. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood, went back to the counter, and ordered another coffee and a breakfast sandwich. When he stepped outside, the wind bit through his jacket. He held out the cup and the bag. The woman looked startled. "I can't pay for this," she said quickly. "I know," Mark replied. "That's not why I bought it." She accepted it slowly, like something fragile. "Thank you," she whispered. The next morning he did it again, and the morning after that. Soon it became part of the routine. Coffee for him, chocolate for Ellie, breakfast for the woman outside. No speeches, no pity in his tone, just normal conversation. "What's your name?" he asked one day. "Lena," she said after a pause, like it had been a while since someone needed it. Ellie began waving to her daily. Lena started waving back, a little shy at first, then warmer. Mark brought her an old winter coat one rainy morning and an umbrella the next week. "You talk to me like I'm still a person," Lena told him quietly. Mark gave a small shrug. "You are." Across the street, unnoticed by all of them, a black sedan sat parked with its engine off, someone inside watching very carefully. The next morning, the air felt different before Mark even reached the cafe door. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way. Ellie wasn't chattering about clouds or dogs or imaginary dragons. She was scanning the sidewalk instead, her small hand tight around his finger. The spot by the window was empty. No grey scarf, no plastic bag, no woman trying to warm her hands with her breath. Ellie stopped walking. "Daddy, where's Lena, auntie?" Mark looked again, slower this time, as if she might appear if he focused hard enough. "Maybe she found somewhere warmer today," he said gently, though the words felt guessed, not known. Inside, the cafe smelled the same: coffee, toast, sugar, but the routine stumbled. Mark ordered the extra coffee and sandwich anyway. The barista raised an eyebrow. "For outside?" she asked. "Yeah," Mark answered. "She's not there." "I know." He took the bag. "Just in case she comes." He set the food on the small outdoor table and waited 5 minutes in the cold. No one came. Eventually, he threw it away and felt strangely guilty doing it. The second day was the same. Empty sidewalk, extra coffee, waiting, tossing it out. By the 4th day, the staff had theories. "City shelter sweep," one cook suggested. "Police move people along sometimes," said another. "Maybe family picked her up," the barista offered. Mark nodded but didn't feel convinced. Lena hadn't talked like someone expecting rescue. She spoke like someone who had already been forgotten by whoever was supposed to look back. A full week passed. Ellie still waved at the empty spot each morning out of habit. Mark still bought the extra coffee out of stubborn kindness. Routine again, but now with an ache in it. Then Thursday came. At 7:12, the street sound changed. Not louder, sharper. Engines that purred instead of rattled. The cafe windows reflected a long black SUV pulling to the curb. Then another behind it. Conversation inside thinned out. Heads turned. Doors opened in sequence. 4 large men stepped out first. Dark suits, earpieces, alert eyes sweeping rooftops and doorways. Not police. Not local security. something more precise. Ellie whispered, "Daddy, are those movie guards?" "Maybe," Mark murmured, though his shoulders had gone tight. A sharply dressed woman exited the second vehicle carrying a leather folder. She surveyed the storefront once, then walked straight toward the cafe entrance without hesitation. When she stepped inside, the room went quiet enough to hear the refrigerator hum. She spoke to the counter staff first, low voice, professional smile. The barista pointed directly at Mark. The woman turned and approached his table. "Mr. Mark Rivera?" she asked. Mark stood slowly. "Yes." She extended her hand. "I'm Attorney Collins." He shook it, confused. "Okay, I represent Ms. Lena Volkov," she said calmly. Mark blinked. "Lena, from outside?" "Yes," the lawyer replied. "And she's been looking for you." Mark stared at the lawyer, certain he had misheard. Around him, spoons hovered over cups and conversations stayed frozen mid-whisper. Ellie leaned against his side, studying the bodyguards like they were zoo animals who might move if she blinked. "I think you've got the wrong person," Mark said carefully. Lena didn't have a lawyer. She barely had gloves. Attorney Collins gave a small, practiced smile. She had both. She just wasn't wearing one of them. She gestured politely. "May we sit?" They took the booth across from him. The bodyguards remained standing, spaced with quiet precision, eyes on exits and reflections. The cafe owner pretended to wipe the same clean counter for 3 straight minutes. "Ms. Volkov asked us to find you the moment her situation was resolved," the lawyer said, opening her folder. Inside were documents, photos, printed reports. Mark frowned. "Resolved from what?" "From her field observation period." "That sounds like a science experiment." "In a way," she replied. "A social one." She slid a photograph across the table. It showed Lena, but different. Elegant suit, styled hair, standing at a podium with microphones and cameras. Mark actually laughed once in disbelief. "That's not—" "It is," Colin said gently. "Elena Volkov, founder and majority owner of Volkov International Logistics. Estimated net worth slightly above $2 billion. The laugh died halfway out. Ellie peeked at the photo. "She looks like a boss," she declared. The lawyer smiled. "She is." Mark sat back. "You're telling me a billionaire was sleeping on the sidewalk outside this cafe?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because when people know you have money, every interaction is contaminated," Collins said. "Politeness becomes strategy. Kindness becomes investment. She wanted uncontrolled data, how strangers behave when there is nothing to gain." Mark shook his head slowly. "That's a dangerous way to collect data." "She had remote security watching at all times," the lawyer said, "including the black sedan across the street." Mark's eyes narrowed. "You were watching her?" "Every day. And you," Collins confirmed. "You were flagged on day 3. "For buying breakfast?" "For consistency," she corrected. "No filming, no posting, no preaching. You spoke to her the same way each morning, eye level." "Name to name." Ellie nodded proudly. "Daddy talks to everybody normal." Collins' expression softened. "Yes, that's exactly the point." She opened the document case. The guard handed her and placed a sealed envelope on the table. "Miss Volkov requested this be delivered before she meets you," she said. Mark didn't touch it. "What is it?" "A response," the lawyer answered, "to repeated kindness with no invoice attached." Mark looked at the envelope but didn't pick it up right away. It sat between them like something alive, heavy, important, out of place beside sugar packets and napkin holders. Ellie tried to peek at the seal until he gently slid it farther from her reach. "I think there's been a mistake," Mark said quietly. "I bought someone breakfast. That's not contract-level activity." Attorney Collins almost smiled. "Open it." He broke the seal carefully. Inside were several official documents, each stamped and signed. Numbers jumped off the page first. Too large, too unreal. He scanned again, slower this time. An education trust, fully funded, in Ellie's name through university level. A housing grant approval. A job offer letter with a salary that made his current combined income look like pocket change. Mark's first reaction wasn't excitement. It was resistance. He pushed the papers back slightly. "I can't accept this." "You already qualified," Collins replied calmly. "This isn't charity. It's discretionary allocation from a private foundation." "I didn't apply." You demonstrated. He shook his head. People help people every day. Not every day, she said. Not the same person. Not without audience.
Patterns matter.
Before he could answer, the cafe door opened. No motorcade this time. No dramatic pause. Just a woman stepping in quietly, wearing a tailored coat and carrying herself with calm certainty. Her hair was styled now, her posture straight, but her eyes were unmistakable. Ellie gasped. "Scarf Auntie!" Several customers turned. Lena, Eleanor, laughed softly and crossed the room. She knelt to Ellie's height and opened her arms. Ellie hugged her without hesitation, as if wealth reports meant nothing, which to her they did. "You're not cold," Ellie announced. "Not anymore," Lena agreed. Mark stood, still holding the papers. "So it's true." "Yes," she said. "And also not true. Both versions are me." "You ran a social experiment on the sidewalk," he said. "I ran from a world where no one speaks honestly to me," she answered. "Out there they did, by ignoring me." "You did? By not?" He exhaled. "You could have just donated to a shelter." "I do," she said. "Money solves problems. It doesn't measure hearts." She nodded at the documents. "I'm not paying you back. I'm moving you forward." "Why me?" Mark asked again. "Because," Lena said gently, "you helped someone who could give you nothing, and you kept helping after it looked pointless." Mark looked at Ellie, then back at Lena. "One condition." "Name it." "No press, no story. My daughter grows up normal." Lena smiled. "Agreed." Outside, the SUVs waited with engines running. Inside, something quieter and rarer was finalized with a handshake and a child's chocolate mustache grin.